Hello,
Hello,
I'm Wayne Anthony,
and I'm Jude Savage.
and welcome to our podcast channel,
Quest.
The Search for Truth.
And in today's episode, and in several other episodes, we're going to be discussing the tarot.
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 Tomato, tomato.
Exactly. But more specifically in today's episode, because it is such a broad subject, we're going to go right back to the beginning. And for any of you out there who are brand new tarot readers, this is kind of an introduction to how to read the cards from our perspective.
Are we going to be patronising?
Sorry if we are.
Well, sometimes the truth is patronising, I think.
Exactly.
Like you said, take it back to basics.
Yeah.
So many people are getting this wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes embarrassing. You see it on so many different things when they're doing these kind of layouts and interpretation of the tarot cards, and it's like, really?
Yeah, I mean, what frustrates me is that these people speak with such authority. So you read so many tarot forums on the internet, and they're going, oh, you must lay out your cards like this in the Celtic cross, and the first card you pick means this, and then on that one on top of it. I mean, what's that about? You must lay one on top of... Sorry, but it's not for me.
No.
Because I believe, I don't know what you believe.
Well, I was raised to believe certain things.
But I believe...
Culturally and, historically.
That the tarot cards will tell you what you need to know, not necessarily what you want to know. So you can ask it a question about, oh, is my lover going to come back to me? And they might talk to you about career.
Yeah, but actually, Jude, are we snobs?
Maybe we are.
Because you know what, you were raised with it, and I was raised with it, and yours goes back generations, and mine goes back generations. We were taught a certain way.
Yeah.
And we meet people, usually weekly at least, that we meet people because we do a lot of functions.
Yeah.
And we meet people, and they're telling us that it should be done this way and that way, and they read it out a book.
Yes.
Yesterday.
And from our experience, this predates in the internet. It predates all of this stuff. It's passed down from generations of how to read the tarot. So let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start.
In the beginning.
It was a dark and stormy night the night it happened.
Yes.
So let's just talk about the tarot deck itself. So what would you do if you were to advise somebody about buying a tarot deck? If they were brand new to it and they go, I really want to know about the tarot, what deck should I buy?
It's a hard one, isn't it? Because everybody goes for the Rider-Waite pack, or the Marseille pack, or some of the more modern packs. I would tell them to start probably with. I'd tell them not to.
Yeah.
I'd tell them to probably start with an Oracle pack. To be honest with you, because I think some people aren't suited to the tarot cards.
No.
They want to learn the tarot, and I think the tarot is a lifetime of learning.
Oh yeah.
As a child, I remember growing up with the tarot as well as playing cards, because they're interchangeable in terms of.
And a lot of people don't realise that you can read playing cards.
Yeah,
can't
in terms of coins is diamonds and swords or spades, etc. So you could, they are transferable. I would say if you do get a tarot deck, just be prepared to destroy your first tarot deck by writing the meaning on the top or the bottom. Now, in my family, and I know it's the same in your family, isn't it? It's the same as you've been taught, that when a card is upside down, is not a negative meaning necessarily. In my family, and I know you believe that too, it's paused.
Yeah, not quite activated yet.
Not activated, the card is paused, so it's waiting to happen under certain circumstances. If you do this and if you do that, and should you move in this way or that way, then this will occur. And the Sun card, for instance, in the tarot deck, when that's upside down, it's just a watered down version of happiness. It means that happiness will return. You're just not quite where you're meant to be right now. So I would say to people, your first tarot deck, get your basic meanings on the top and the bottom.
Yeah, start with the basics.
No more than 3. Write it down, pen and ink on top. It means this, this, and this. And if you want to do that reversed meaning that some people do, which I'm not a big believer in, then do that as well. And then just practice, really. Because it does take a long time to learn the tarot.
Yes.
And nobody in this world, in any subject as far as I'm concerned, is an expert.
No, absolutely not.
It doesn't exist.
Learning all the time.
You can be an authority.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You can have experience.
If you've tried the boards and you've done the work, and when people say to me, oh yeah, I've been studying the tarot for 6 years and 10 years, I'm like, is that it?
Yeah.
because I've been looking at
keep
them
going.
for 50 years,
Yeah.
and you know what? I still don't understand them completely.
But don't let that put you off.
No.
You know, I mean, but be prepared to. It is a lifelong thing.
But choose a pack that speaks to you.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. You've
Choose
got
a
to feel
pack.
connected to
Yeah.
the pack. And it's better. I mean, I know we're in the age of the internet where we order so much off the
Yeah.
internet. But if you're going to do that, be prepared that it might not be the pack for you.
No.
It might not speak to you, if you like.
And there we come to a subject of design of tarot cards. You know,
Yes,
you can design a pack of tarot cards from baked beans.
you can.
Or fried eggs.
Yeah.
You know, the 5 of fried
There's
eggs.
so many that are out there, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, the black cat tarot and the
Yeah.
monkey tarot.
There's
and
every tarot.
Oh,
isn't there?
you name a subject, there's probably a tarot deck for it.
But if it speaks to you, then that's great. But the point I'm coming to is that you have to look why a tarot deck was brought into existence. What's its purpose? Why did they bring that tarot deck into existence for its love and its beauty, like the flower deck or the Victorian deck or the Native American pack or any other packs? Why did the author and the artist create it? Did they
Yes.
create it for beauty and for the love of tarot, or did they create it to make money?
Yeah,
And
and that's the case
well,
in a lot of cases.
If they created that pack to make money, then that's what it's there for. It's not really the love of tarot, is it? Now, I use the Sforza pack and I use the Scapini pack,
You do.
which are the first representations. Well, Sforza is the first representation from the 1400s.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It's got all tongue-tied then.
Yeah, I can't. They certainly go.
Yeah, it was.
The origins really date back.
Yeah,
to
what
like
do you
that,
use?
14th century.
Several.
Well, I use several.
Yeah.
It depends on what I'm doing. I mean, on Psychic Nights, you've seen me use the Juliet Sharman Burke pack.
They're
And the
beautiful.
reason I use that is because I quite like to talk about the pictures on the cards. So, and I don't mean to be rude when I say this, I think it's a simplistic pack.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that people are simple.
Oh, no, you must keep it simple.
But sometimes I like to say, look at the picture on the pack, look at the picture on
Jude,
the card,
life
see what you think.
It's not complicated. People make it
People
complicated.
make it complicated.
Absolutely.
Now, that doesn't mean to say I don't always agree with the picture depicted on the
No.
pack. I mean, you talked about Rider-Waite.
Yeah.
A lot
No,
of those I don't agree
like it.
with. I'm not very keen on it.
I'm not keen on the Morgan Greer, the Mythic.
Yeah.
Not for me.
But sometimes, you might like pictures on a pack. But like Wayne said, get to know the pack itself. Why has it been created? For a start.
What brought it into existence?
Yes. And what works for you won't work for me, won't
No.
work for you, won't work for... And you've got to find that pack to begin
It's a workman's tool.
Yes.
They're a tool in a bag.
Yeah.
Somebody comes to you and they go like, could I have a reading? Because I've got issues or problems. Yeah, we've all got issues and problems. And usually when people come to you, it's either career or work or family.
Usually one of those, love, career, work,
Yeah,
health,
and,
family.
To me, growing up as a psychic, you look in your tool bag and it's like, what tool do they need? Do they need the crystal ball? Do they need the tarot cards?
Yeah.
Do they need the pendulum?
Yeah.
What do they need? And you pull out the tool and you deal with the issue. You deal with the problem.
And this comes to the subject of how we read, really, don't
Yeah.
we? Because we read energy.
Always. Because when you read in somebody's an energy exchange anyway.
Yeah, and that's why we say we like to hear their voice, we like to have that exchange.
Tonal vibration,
Tonal vibration
is really
you always
important.
refer to.
Just yes or no.
Yeah. So you really got to, if you're reading for somebody else, if that's your purpose, if you want to get the tarot deck because you want to try and read for other
Yeah.
people, which will help you learn, then it is really important if they're there in front of you, really. That's not to say you can't do it online, but it is really personal experience if you've got them in front of
Yeah,
you.
and never read for yourself.
No, that is kind of a rule.
Just don't, reading in my family is forbidden.
Yeah.
And you're not allowed to read for yourself, only in times of great need. And
Great
only then
need.
can you only choose 3 cards. And they must be picked in a certain way, which I'm not
Yes.
going to say how that way
Yes.
is, but they must be picked in a certain way.
Yeah.
And even then, I will probably, in the times that I've done it in my life, and I'm probably thinking 3 times, in 58 years, have I ever picked from the pack in a certain way? And I don't like picking from it because it never gives you the answer that you want.
And you can never be unbiased. either.
No.
So going back to what I said about, you say, these tarot forums or groups on Facebook, for example, there are all of these people who are picking for themselves. And they all go, right, well, I've asked the tarot deck this, you know, I've got issues with my boyfriend or my girlfriend, and I've asked the tarot deck this, and I picked these 3, so therefore it must mean that. And I'm like looking at the cards going, they're not telling you that. You're making it fit to your situation.
But that's what humans do.
Which is natural, but you are making it fit to your situation. And do you know what? And so many of them, I tend not to comment, but sometimes I can't help myself. And I'll go, the cards aren't telling you that. If you've got an issue with your boyfriend or your girlfriend, go away from the tarot deck. Go and speak to them.
Have that conversation.
Yeah.
Sort it out today.
So, exactly.
Don't be flipping
sitting
cards.
there flipping cards.
Where is he? Where is she?
Yeah,
because if you don't have the voice in your relationship to talk to that person, you don't have a relationship.
Yeah. So when we pick the cards, okay, now everybody chooses a certain number for one. Do you feel happy about saying how many you get to?
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Yeah.
What, for me?
Yeah.
In my family?
Yeah.
What, our spread? The celestial circle?
Yeah.
We picked 13.
13.
Yeah, but they must be picked in a certain way,
Yeah.
which I'm not going to reveal.
No, that's fine. But the number is 13.
It's 13. It's 13 lunar cycles. So it's actually called the celestial circle.
Right.
So 13 lunar cycles is still a celestial circle, which is 1 year, a year and a day in my family.
Okay.
And so that will show you the trends and what's going to be happening.
Yeah, and you lay them out in a certain way as
in a
well.
circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I will sometimes do 3 and 3 and 3.
Yeah.
So I might do 9.
But everyone must find their own way.
They must, yeah. I mean, I do quite like your way of it in a circle.
Well, because
I must admit.
It's hard to explain, isn't it? Because under every card, they're laid out in a circle, and under every card is what we call a hidden house.
A house, yeah.
The first house is the house underneath the card, the hidden house. The first house is called the house. The first one is the house of the living.
Yeah.
The house of pathways, the house of fate, the house of harmony, the house of blood, and on it goes all round to the house of prosperity and the house of the dead. The last card, the 13th card, and each card that lands on the house answers the question.
Yeah.
So, for instance, in the house of the living, and the house of the living asks the question, what do I need to improve the life that I have, or the living life that I have yet to live? And the card that lands there answers the question and tells you what you need to do to improve your living life. And my father used to say, it's not rocket science. It really isn't. Just the card lands there and says, this is what you need to do. On the house of pathways, which is the best pathway for me. The card that lands there tells you.
And quite often the first 3 that come out, or even the first one that comes out.
Well, they're all interlinked in a strange way.
And that's really important to sit when you read for somebody, because like you've said this to me before, and it's something that really resonates with me as you know, as a psychic and a tarot reader for other people, is that I read with that presence of mind of what can I do. It's kind of, I don't want to go into depth and say, oh, it's a therapy session, but it kind of is.
Totally.
You know, and for me, I think when you're reading for someone, and this is something else that annoys me on the internet, is people go, right, well, they did. And for example, I saw a comment on a Facebook page the other day, and this lady was obviously clearly in distress, which is why she turned to the tarot. And she said, look, I'm having real difficulties with my relationship with my boyfriend. I'm really concerned about what's going on. I'm feeling really low about it. And this guy, I don't know who he thought he was, commented and went, oh, he's cheating on you. You should leave him immediately. And I couldn't help myself. And I went, who are you to tell this woman, when you know nothing about her life, to up and leave this man? You know nothing about her situation, you know nothing about her.
But that's just
stop
the thing,
it.
isn't it? You know,
and I thought that's probably the last thing that she needs to hear. So I would start by moving away from the tarot deck and talk to him.
But as a psychic, as a card reader, you know, even if you're not psychic and you're just a card reader, because you don't need to be psychic to read the cards, but whichever, you have a duty of care.
You do, yes,
to that person.
You do.
You know, and no matter how sure you are, you need to be very careful about what you say, because you're dealing with very fragile people and vulnerable people as well. So, you know, the tarot, and I love you've got a phrase, and I love the phrase that you use when I've seen you, you know, when delivering to audiences, and you always say, regardless what card you're going to pick tonight, because you get people to pick cards, you know, you need to remember that no tarot card is without hope.
Yeah, I do say that.
Yeah. And Pandora, the last thing she trapped in the box was hope. The last human emotion to leave is hope. And I always love it when you say that, because you know what, no tarot card is without hope.
No.
So even if it's the Tower, the Ten of Swords, the Ace of Swords, and the Eight of Swords, and you know, some of these, every card has hope.
Yeah,
And cards are
always.
warnings, aren't they?
Yes.
Cards are often like, if you don't, you know, if you don't, but I suggest you do this. If you do this, then you're going to mitigate what's going to happen there, or you're going to change what happens there. As my great grandmother used to say, forewarned is forearmed. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah.
You know, we need to help people.
Yes.
We don't need to be going like, oh, your husband's, you know, having an affair with a goat. You need to leave him now because, you know, this, that, and the other. I don't think that's necessarily our job to do that.
No,
I really don't. No matter how sure you are, you've got to get that person, your client, your friends, aren't you, with them, because they're passing so much personal information. You've got to get them to a place of safety and a place of strength and hope.
And you gave me a really good word, empowered.
Yeah.
You want to leave people feeling empowered.
If you can't empower somebody, then step away. Step away from the cards.
Don't do it for people.
Step away from your crystal ball and just move along, because you know
they should
what?
be left feeling uplifted by it.
And if not uplifted, strengthened.
Yes, quite often they ask questions that they already know the answer to.
And the tarot cards respond, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
They usually show not what you want to know, but what they want to tell you.
What they want to tell you, yeah.
And, you know, my grandmother used to say to us, the cards will never answer a question to which you already know the answer.
Yes, yeah.
They'll go off onto something else.
Yeah, they will.
And then when I see that in the cards and I look and I think, oh, you know what, they're not answering, you know, the cards, or, you know, some clients will ask specific questions because they know the answer.
They already know the answer.
They just don't want to hear the answer. Or they're not ready at that time.
And that's why you find people again on the internet and they go, oh no, and I shuffled them again, and I shuffled them. I'm like, yeah, because you're not getting the cards you want.
You're not allowed.
Stop it.
You're not
just
allowed.
Stop it. It's wrong. Stop it.
Even in my family, though, I had a sister that used to shuffle until she got what she wanted.
Got what you want. You might as well just get the pack and go, where's the sun card?
And it was Cecilia. Is Cecilia? I mean, you know, we'd be there, and she'd be you know, in the, I'd be like late teens, and she'd be like in mid to late 20s, because I'm one of 11 children, big family. It's a big age gap. We're not huge. And she'd be sat there shuffling cards, picking 3 cards, 1, 2, 3. I can see her doing it with her fingers like that, 1, 2, 3. I'm like, what are you doing? She said, oh, he's not coming back. And then she'd keep going, and she'd, I'll just do one more time. And she'd, oh yeah, he'll be back. He's coming back. He wants me. So we used to technically pee her very little bit, really, because she would constantly do the cards until she chose the cards that she thought was right for her. But maybe, you know, that brought her comfort. But for me, going back to tarot cards and something you were saying earlier, some people are intuitive readers. They look at the cards, and the cards speak to them in a certain way. They don't know the meanings. They don't know the traditional. They're not purist about it. They don't know that the sun means happiness, and it means life in the garden of, you know, happiness and achieving the things that you want, and the period of summer and in your life. They look at that card and might think, you know what, it means you're going on holiday. And who's to say they're wrong? Because the card is intuitively speaking to them.
And I think there are so many different meanings of the cards as well.
Well,
that you have to, this is where you need to have the ability to kind of go, what is it in this situation? And you have to look at what other cards you've got. So there is no one, like we said, start with a very basic meaning.
Please do.
But then as you go along, you'll start realising, oh yeah, but in this situation, because it's next to that card, or it's above that card, depending on how you've laid out the cards, or it's opposite that card, or there's more than one of this type, it now means this.
That's a podcast for another time.
It is,
because, you know, this card next to that card, 2 aces, reunion, 3 fives, quickening, 3 nines, a convergence, you know, 2 kings, good support, 3 kings, greater support, 2 queens, gossip, 3 queens, scandal. You know, all of those things. The synergistic values of the cards are vast. And that's why people don't want to learn it, because they can't remember
it's too much.
That's why they make it up. And I've seen people. I was in London, and I was in a bar, and there was a woman and a man doing readings for people just randomly on a table, and I listened and I thought, what a load off. Really? And I could see the cards, and I'm like, that's not, and it was all doom and gloom, because I think they have to feel they've got to be doom and gloom.
That really annoys me as well.
Somebody's going to die. Yeah, probably in the next 18 months, you, me, and the
I
cat
was
and the
gonna
dog,
say,
we're all going to hear of something.
experience.
There's going to be a birth, there's going to be a death, there's going to be a marriage,
Marriage
somebody's
has
going to have a
got
bad
to
knee,
die.
somebody's got a bad back. The statistics of life apply to all of
course
us.
they do.
And they kind of peddle that
Yeah.
but that's not what the tarot's there for.
No, it isn't.
You know, it does show the future if you're a precog, and you're a precog, aren't you? You're not a postcog,
No.
and you know you're not. It does show the future. It can show the past if it's relevant to where you are and what you're doing.
Yeah, neither of us are, post-cog, are we?
I don't care what I ate for breakfast. I want to know what I'm eating for breakfast
It's
tomorrow.
not to say we don't see the past, because we do sometimes, but we tend to see...
Get references to it, don't you?
But we tend to see the future, don't we, really?
Yeah, but like I said,
everybody reads differently.
Are you thinking about your breakfast that you had?
No, I'm not,
No,
so
I'm
I'm not
thinking-
interested in it.
I'm thinking what I'm going to have when this podcast finishes. I want a chip butty.
One other thing that's just occurred to me as
Oh, yeah.
well, I see this question asked a lot, is people say, when I'm shuffling the cards, I'm about to pick the cards, and one falls on the floor. Now, you have a wonderful phrase. I really
Not mine.
like this. It's not from you.
Great grandmother
Okay. What falls to the floor?
must come to the door.
Yeah. And people go, do I keep that or do I put it back
No,
in
you
the
missed
pack?
the next bit.
What's
People
next?
always forget the next bit.
What?
For it jumped from the pack.
For it jump from the back.
Because it needs something.
Yes.
Like a fish jumping from water.
Oh,
She used to say. It's craving something. It wants oxygen.
yes.
It's demanding.
So the answer to that question is yes, that card's come out for a reason.
It's shouting.
Yeah.
It's screaming.
Unless you drop half the pack, then no.
You're just an idiot.
You just can't shuffle cards.
Yeah, you're a klutz.
But yeah, keep that card if
Ham
it jumps
hands.
out of the pack. Yeah.
Yeah. So what falls to the floor shall come to the door.
Mm.
The cards are shouting, basically, and they're eager to say something. Yeah. And I see psychics actually on Facebook and other media, and and they're shuffling so vigorously that cards just jump from the back. And I go, I've got this card here, and it's the unicorn, and it's this one. And I'm like, shut up.
Yeah.
Shuffle and they get these cards that are like crunchy, like really quite aggressive with the cards, and that was like, just shuffle, just be normal. You don't have to whack the cards.
No.
What did they do to you? You're not making a chapati or a pizza.
You're not whacking it.
You're not whipping cream. Just have some respect.
Yeah.
Because you're mixing the energies.
Yeah, your connection with the cards is important, isn't it? We say.
Yeah,
that,
but then there's another thing in my family, which again people decry me for or shout me down, is that you can't necessarily pick other people's cards.
No.
You don't
that's
have
true.
access to that information. That's
No.
Akashic.
I meant when you give somebody the cards to shuffle,
They
they
must pick
should
their
they
own
should
story.
have
You're
they
the map
should have
reader.
that connection.
Only they
to
can
the
access
cards.
their map.
Yes.
But
then you read what they've picked.
But I
Yes.
see people turning the cards and going,
No.
this means this, and you're going to be doing this, and you're
No,
going to be doing
you
that.
shouldn't be picking somebody else's cards. They need to pick
Well, I
them.
don't think you're allowed, not in
No.
my family,
No.
but some people do that. I mean, unless you're an Akashic thief, a psychic thief, and they do exist, but they're very rare as far as I know.
No, they're the ones that need the contact with the cards, and they need to pick them.
And you read them.
And then you read
their map.
them. Yeah.
You're just a map reader, really.
Yes.
Yeah. I think if you're going to start, just keep it simple.
Yeah.
Or just start with the first 22, because that's kind of the major things into the Fool, the Magician, the High
Yeah. Start with the
Priestess,
Major Arcana.
the Empress. Learn the first 22, and then, as somebody once said to me in my family, it was an auntie actually, she said the Major Arcana is the big things that are going to happen, and the Minor Arcana is the kind of little nitty gritty bits.
I tend to say, I don't know if you agree with this, I tend to say to people, they're the ones that more shout to you, the Major Arcana.
Yeah,
And the Minor Arcana
Yeah.
are more day to day. That's not to say they're not important, but it's more the day to day events, and the Major are the ones that are speaking a bit louder.
Yeah, they're shouting, in terms of the bigger things that's going to
Yes,
happen.
this is
within your
important.
life. Absolutely.
So, Wayne, you mentioned reading intuitively. Do you want to
Okay.
explain a little bit to our listeners and our video watchers what that means?
For sure, because a lot of people get confused between, you're a traditional tarot reader and I'm a traditional tarot reader, and that's fine. It takes years and years of practice. That doesn't mean, though, that from get-go, you pick up your first pack of tarot cards today. So if you don't have the memory to learn that sort of thing, then just do it intuitively. Find a pack of cards that speak to you. I always say to people, what's your favourite period of history? Tudor, Victorian. I'm sure there's loads of different areas of history that people like. War, I think there's a World War II pack.
Yeah.
And then if that's what you're interested in, then buy that pack and then look at that pack. Lay the cards. Find a system that works for you. Lay it out, and and let the cards speak to you. How does it make you feel?
Yes.
what is it saying to you emotionally? Because it's the energy exchange. It's like, what is the energy exchange? Is it making you feel happy? Is it making you feel sad? Is it making you feel apprehensive, depressed? All of those feelings. And then therefore you look at the card and you say that to the person, this is how I'm feeling, you know, currently. Have you been feeling like this, or have you been feeling like that? Because that's the energy I'm getting from the card.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Whereas if you were to look at the Death card, or you were to look at the Ten of Cups or the Three of Cups or whatever, you'd say this is its traditional meaning, this is happening, that is happening, that's going to happen, and this is going to happen. And you're going through this phase. It's whatever suits you, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm traditional, so I'm always going to go for the traditional. Sometimes, though, even as a traditional reader, when I look at the cards, they do. I'm like, it's not in the cards, but intuitively,
Yes.
I can sense there's something else going on.
I mean, that happened quite recently, didn't it? When one of my readings on one of our events, you were talking about, and it was the Ace of Wands.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk. Just give me a few things about the Ace of Wands.
The Ace of Wands, news at night, which is not very well known by people. It's also treble folds of paper, legal documents, or documents which are about signing or coming to an end of things as well. Sorry?
Yeah. So, but it's also holding a torch to someone.
It is holding the torch. It's the flaming torch, isn't it? It's either setting fire to something and letting it go and purging, or it's holding the torch that you've not let go.
And that came to me in that specific reading intuitively, because of the person that I was reading her energy. We talked about reading energy, and that came to me in that moment. And I thought, I'm going to have to go with this, because this is what intuitively, this is what's coming with me. And I went, you're still holding a torch to someone. And she got upset, didn't she? She was like, yes, I am.
Got upset. Poor girl bawled her eyes out.
But not.
You evil cow made that woman cry.
But
she was inconsolable.
No.
Yeah, she was.
No,
I had to call a paramedic.
But she went, you know what, you're absolutely right, didn't she? She said, yeah, you're absolutely right, I am. And I said, and
I remember sitting there, shut up. I remember sitting there thinking, where are you going with this? You can't do this. It's like,
I knew I could say, but I knew I could say it with her. And there are often times when I'll be having something and I will stop and I'll go, look, I'm aware we're in a room full of strangers here. If you want to talk to me afterwards about this, that's fine. Do I look convinced
for those people that can see us on camera?
Well,
do
I
look convinced? Do you know what I thought? I thought she was really waiting for that message.
She needed that, didn't she?
She definitely needed that.
And that's why I knew I could say it, because I knew that she needed to hear it. And she went, you are absolutely right, I am. I can't get over somebody. And I'm still holding the torch for him.
But we're not therapists,
no.
We're not
psychotherapists.
We're not, anything like that. But sometimes we have to step into the role of friend, brother, sister, therapist, if that's it. What is therapy anyway? Only but listening. Psychotherapy is telling people what to do. Do we tell people what to do? Only ever if we really feel that they need to really do that.
That's
rare.
It's guidance, isn't
it? And usually they know what they've got to do, don't they?
And quite often.
But you were brilliant, I must admit. Actually, I've not had a chance to talk to you about that one. It was a fair few weeks ago. But
that is reading intuitively, isn't it? That is about taking the moment. Yes, you have your traditional meanings of the cards, but sometimes, like you said, that's what the card is speaking
I
to
think
you
I might
psychically.
come across as a bit of a snob. I'm not saying don't learn the tarot cards. Please do learn the tarot cards.
Yes, you must, yes.
Please start learning them, because you're always going to be good from go.
Yes.
But you'll just get better and better and better and better.
And
don't be afraid to allow your intuitive self the freedom to step in and go, you know what, I feel it's going to be this as well as that. Even if it goes against what the card is actually traditionally meant to be. I always say to clients, regardless of what you pick, it's what I see.
Yes.
It's what I
that's
feel.
Important.
It's what I sense, basically. So if the card's saying this and that and the other, and I feel it's different, then I'm going to say what's different. I'm not going to tell you what's necessarily what the cards are necessarily saying. If the cards and me both agree, I'm 99% sure then that's what's going to happen. So I combine the two, as do you, because I've seen you do it. So, if I feel it's this way, and the cards are saying it's that way, then that's how it's going to be. So, but don't be put off by the tarot cards, but don't don't take shortcuts. Just
No.
write the meanings on.
Yeah.
Be prepared to lose your first pack.
Yeah.
Put some stickers on it. It's fine.
Yeah, and keep going with it over and over again. I
Don't
think.
get tarot burnout.
No.
People get tarot burnout, don't they?
Yeah.
And then they resort to making up as they go along.
Yeah.
So if anybody out there, whether you're young or you're old and you're coming into it, you can come into this at the age of 60, 70 if you want, 80, who cares? Or 12, or 14, or 20. Don't let anybody put you off. If you've got that within you, your ability comes from within,
Yes.
not without.
And you've just reminded me by saying the word ability. Well, I've not heard any true psychic
will.
say it's a gift.
You're going to get in trouble for saying this.
I'm going to
Jude.
go in
You're
trouble
gonna
for
get in
saying
trouble
this. Do you know what? Disagree with me. I don't mind.
The fakes are going to hate you.
But I don't care. But I don't mind. That's fine. You stand in your truth, and I'm going to stand in mine.
So you do you.
But yeah, you do you, and I'm doing me.
Yeah.
But
One of us
because
is wrong.
to me, it's not a gift. It's quite often a curse.
I think if you...
It's an ability.
My father said to me, it's not a gift, it's a curse. You're cursed to carry it, to see the things you don't want to see and know the things you don't want to know. A gift, you can give it back, can't you?
Yeah, you can.
Someone gives you a gift at Christmas, you pass it on to the friend you don't
Sell
like.
it on.
It's not a gift to know that the child being carried in the woman's womb is not going to come to full
Yeah, a
term.
good person
and
will
in the
die
past.
and a bad person will live.
Yeah, that's not a gift.
And it's not being able to control. If it was a gift, you'd be able to control it. I'd know what next week's lottery numbers were.
Well, exactly. And if we all knew what next week's lottery, we wouldn't sat here with
Exactly. I'd
beach
be
in the Bahamas.
owning an island
I'd be having
somewhere.
a pina colada. I'd be in the Maldives. I don't know where I'd be
Exactly.
actually. I won't be here talking to you. Who are you anyway?
Who are you?
How did I get here? Why am I here? But tarot, do buy a pack. And can we just address that stupid superstition about you mustn't buy your own tarot pack?
Oh yeah. Oh, it must be given to you.
It must be given to you, or you must pay for it with silver. Listen,
God.
if I was sat
Right.
here waiting for somebody to buy me a pack of cards, I'd be waiting along. I'd be long in the tooth. I'm long in the tooth anyway, but I'd be longer.
You'd have to ask somebody, wouldn't you? I really want to learn about the tarot, but I don't buy my own pack.
Do you know the amount of clients I see per year? Do you know how many packs I go through?
Loads.
Yeah, so before they become sticky and unworkable, you know.
So can you imagine if every time I can't possibly buy my own
I've just
pack.
got to sit here and somebody's going to buy me a pack of... No, they're not. Not the prices they charge sometimes.
buy
Another
your
thing
own
is
pack.
as well, is people say, what do you do with your old tarot cards?
Mm.
Well, at the end of the day, my father used to call them the devil's picture book, but at the end of the day, they're pieces of paper.
Yeah,
aren't
it's just bits of
they?
cardboard.
People I buried mine actually. I do bury them. I got in the garden. There's about 1,000 pits in the garden. I think the neighbours think I'm a serial killer.
Tarot graves.
Yeah, tarot graves. They're all over.
Yeah. But buy
just
several
look at-
packs
or
probably.
Amazon.
Yeah.
No, look at the pack that you like. And then go and see if
and
there's-
then, like we've said, it's important how you connect with
Also,
them.
this nonsense about can you have a second-hand pack of tarot cards? Why not?
Yeah, why?
Oh, I need to cleanse them. I need to bathe them.
So that's what you want to do. You knock yourself out.
Go for it.
Go for it.
You want to buy into all that.
Yeah.
Nonsense. It is it's not practical.
Do it, but it's not necessary in our opinion.
I just think they're just things. Things can contain negative energy. We know that.
yeah,
if
we
it
know
makes you feel
that.
better, then
Yeah,
but say
yeah.
a prayer over it,
Yeah.
or do whatever little ritual you
Whatever
have to do.
sits well with you.
Try it. People will say, well, you've got to wrap them in silk, you've got to keep them in a box, or you've got to keep them in a centre drawer, or you've got to do this, you've got to have a particular ritual with your tarot cards. You know what? Listen, when you go to get a spanner out your toolbox, and you go to get the pliers to pull out a nail, or any other tool that you get from your toolbox, is it wrapped in silk?
No.
Smelling nicely of roses and lavender? No, I don't think it is. And a tarot deck is just the same. They're pieces of paper. You don't need to wrap them in anything. But it's up to you. If that makes you feel a bit more special about
you
it,
want to
then
do
fine.
it, then fine.
They're
But
tools.
It's not necessary.
Treat them with respect, yeah.
Oh yeah.
But all this mumbo jumbo just makes me want to puke.
Yeah, I
sometimes.
think it's a selling tool from lots of people, to be honest. To go, well, you must have this
Tarot bag and a tarot box.
Yeah.
Certain
It's just
fragrance.
to make money.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Well, I know it is, and I just don't. They're just tools that you use on a daily basis. But yeah, no, so interestingly, and we've done other podcasts on this, haven't we?
We have.
Spreads,
we've
we've done the origins, and we've done a little bit more historical stuff as well.
Yeah, and we're working our way through the tarot deck itself. So if, for our listeners on our podcast channel, you want to go and check out our YouTube videos, just search for Quest, the Search for Truth, and you'll find all our videos on there. We've got quite a few talking about specific cards on there, as well as many other videos. And for you watching on our YouTube channel right now, we also have the podcast. There'll be different episodes on there too. You can email us if you want to ask us any questions about the tarot or anything really that you want to ask. Email is quest.thesearchfortruth@gmail.com. We also have a Facebook page, an Instagram page, etc, etc, etc.
Click on likes. Everyone says that, but nobody ever does it, do they?
No, they don't. But honestly, if you have questions about the tarot, we are here to answer our opinion.
Well, not just tarot, ghosts.
But ghosts, anything that we've done a video of or a podcast of, then yeah, and send us your opinions.
Yeah, hate us, we don't mind.
We don't mind.
Bye for now.
Bye bye.